If you guys are into PPC as much as I am, then there's no doubt in my mind you have seen adverts for click fraud prevention software. You've seen all of the adverts on YouTube and Facebook, and you might be asking yourself, which software package will work for me? Well, in this video, what I'm going to do is review some of the market-leading click fraud prevention softwares. We're going to look at ClickGUARD, Clickcease, and PPC Protect. And what we're going to do is understand which one will be right for your business based on the pricing, the dashboard and UX experience, the ability to protect from fraud, and also the configurable options within each package. Now, of course, depending on your business type and your personal circumstances, different packages might suit different people depending on that. So in this video, we're going to take a look and see which click fraud software is right for you. Hey guys, Darren Taylor of thebigmarketer.com here, and my job is to make you a digital marketing expert. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm a trainer and consultant specializing in digital marketing, mostly search engines, but if that sounds of interest to you, you should consider subscribing to the channel. And in this video, we're going to break down the 3 market-leading PPC click fraud softwares out there. So we're going to look at Clickcease, ClickGUARD, and PPC Protect and understand which one is right for you. So let's not waste any more time. Let's start off by looking at the first package we're going to explore, which is Clickcease, which is one who advertise heavily on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm guessing you would have seen this annoying guy before. So they're obviously advertising aggressively, so you might think this is the most popular one to use, but let's take a look and understand the features and the setup and the experience of using this software. Getting started with Clickcease is easy. Just head over to their website, sign up, and create an account. But before you create an account, you need to first choose a pricing package. So let's take a closer look very quickly at their pricing. So as you can see, they start off with a basic package at $15 a month. But this isn't really worth getting because all it does is it tells you when click fraud is occurring. It doesn't actually protect you from click fraud whatsoever. So it's literally just to show you that the system works and it finds click fraud for you. Next is the standard package, which is pretty much what most people will be getting because it provides the click fraud protection, it has automatic IP blocking, you can also do post-click analysis through conversion tracking, you can have multiple users and account sharing, you can also record sessions, so like the tool Hotjar, which is a conversion optimization tool, you can actually record what people are doing on your website and track mouse movements and clicks as well, so you can actually see what people are doing and see how that informs your click fraud prevention strategy, which is a really nice feature. In addition to that, you also have bounce detection as well, so you can actually see whether or not people are bouncing, and if they do, it automatically adds them to the IP block list if it's a repeat offender. So there are quite a few good things this software can do, and if you want to look at the Pro version, it means you're not limited by the 5,000 clicks that you are on the standard version. You can go up to 10,000 clicks with the Pro version, but for most businesses on PPC that I've seen, especially in the medium and small business areas, 5,000 clicks per month should be enough for you, and if it's more, then you can go up to 10,000 clicks, but you can also use this slider if you have a lot more traffic. If you're an agency, you have to get in touch with them, but if you have 100,000 clicks to your campaigns, then it will be $250 per month. But most people will need the standard package. To get started, you just need to click Start My 7-Day Free Trial, which is good that they give you a free trial. So let's take a closer look at the features of Clickcease, because one thing to remember is that a lot of these click fraud softwares, they do need a bit of manual tweaking as well, and some of the manual features are really useful in terms of managing your click fraud expectations. So with regards to Clickcease, you can also set rules up manually, which will allow you to determine how frequently someone would have to click your ads before they get blacklisted and added to the exclusion IP list. So if somebody's a repeat offender, you can decide whether or not if they click twice and leave without doing anything on your website within a short period or a long period of time counts as click fraud. So the question is to you, do you want to allow somebody to click your ads twice within 10 minutes, once within an hour, 3 times within 2 hours? The choice is yours, and of course with anything manually configurable, it will have an impact on your campaign. So with any kind of automated rules or things like that of that nature, you need to ensure that they're in line with your campaign performance. If you make too strict and restrictive rules, you might negatively impact your campaigns. But this is a good feature that allows you to choose and customize how aggressive you want to be with fraud detection. As I mentioned there, they also have a feature that allows you to track conversions, so that conversion tracking code for Clickcease will allow you to inform your campaigns whether or not somebody is a bad user who wants to be excluded or whether they're somebody who's legitimate. Now, if you have somebody clicking your advert in a way that might seem illegitimate or something that should be blacklisted potentially, but then they go on to convert on your website, you might want to use that data to inform whether or not someone is fraudulent or not. So that's a good feature, and post-click analysis becomes quite important. The good thing about these rules is that it doesn't just go onto your entire account. You can choose whether or not at ad group or campaign level these rules apply, because of course fraud can be different based on different keywords and different campaigns. Some industries or campaigns will have more fraud than others, so it doesn't make sense to have rules that cover the entire account. What you want is rules that are targeted based on a campaign by campaign basis, which is what this tool will do. So that's really handy as well. They also have a number of other rules you can toggle on or off. For example, you can block all traffic from all VPNs. Now, this could be quite a dangerous one because a lot of people these days can use VPNs as people become more concerned with online security. So it's not something necessarily you'd want to turn on, but it's something that I would advise testing in short periods to see what the impact is of your campaigns. You can also exclude completely huge geographical areas as well. So for example, if you wanted to block clicks from a certain country or area, you could do that as well. But of course, this is something you can do in Google Ads. In addition to that, you can do that on your website's web server as well. So it's not a feature that's really worthwhile because ultimately you can do this anyway with pretty much a number of systems outside of Clickcease. They also have a feature where you can blacklist IP ranges as opposed to specific IP addresses, which will be good if you see a bunch of negative clicks or clicks that should be blacklisted from a number of IPs from the same range. You can block the whole range, which means you save a lot of space. And when I say save space, it's because all of the click fraud softwares I'm talking about today, they all have the same limitation, and that is Google Ads only allows up to 500 IP addresses to be blocked in the system, meaning that you can't keep blocking and blocking more IP addresses once you hit that 500 threshold. So having a range ability to block an IP range is important as well. The way this software and the others I'll go on to discuss work is that they will always prioritize the most fraudulent clicks first. So the blacklist of IP addresses will always contain the worst offenders. They don't just add new ones in based on if it's more recent. They'll always focus on the worst offenders, which is important. As I mentioned, I will also talk about the actual UX of the system and the dashboard. The dashboard itself is very clear, very easy to understand. The one criticism I will say, however, in fact there are two criticisms I have of Clickcease. One of them is technical, one of them is, I guess, more ethical. So the first one is, of course, that the dashboard to me looks a bit 2010. It doesn't look like a fresh, modern software as a service system compared to some of the other ones I'll go on to show you. But it does the job and it's clear enough to understand, and you can see your metrics at a glance as well. So it's a good dashboard, just looks a bit dated. My second criticism, I have to be honest with you, is Clickcease focused their marketing heavily on competitors standing around and clicking your adverts non-stop. I can tell you firsthand, that is a very, very, very minute area of click fraud. But what they're doing with their advertising is thinking, advertisers will probably be more scared of that than bots or automation or people who aren't even proper browsers. Maybe the traffic you're generating isn't quite the kind of type of user who's going to convert. So that technically is a fraudulent click as well. If somebody's the wrong type of user and they bounce off your website multiple times, that is more of a fraudulent click than just somebody who is clicking your advert maliciously as a competitor, which happens very rarely, but they focus all their advertising on that. And it's an emotional play, I get it, I'm a marketer, but at the same time, I don't think it's the right way to advertise this product because it's simply not the biggest case of click fraud. But apart from that, it's a decent system, it does what it says it does, it has some advanced toggling systems as well, and the dashboard is okay. Next up, we have PPC Protect. Now, PPC Protect, again, very simple. All you need to do to sign up is head over to their website and register your account. Now, in terms of pricing, their pricing structure is very different to that of Clickcease in that they really only have one tier pricing unless you're an agency or a huge business who requires a lot of traffic and a lot of, I guess, opportunity to block click fraud, and you spend a lot of budget on Google Ads. But let's take a quick look at their pricing just so I can show you. So as I say, they only have the one tier of pricing in reality, which is the Essential package, which protects up to $10,000 per month. If your account is bigger, you need more protection, you need to talk to them directly in order to get a bespoke quote for what you need. Now, their essential package does everything that you need it to. It blocks click fraud automatically, prevents future fraud, it looks at unlimited ad clicks as well, and unlimited accounts. So if you remember with Clickcease, you were limited to 5,000 clicks and 10,000 clicks based on your two main packages. With this one, even though it's $70 a month, which is kind of in line with the standard package of Clickcease, you actually get unlimited clicks and unlimited accounts. So it's uncapped and has a lot more potential for growth as well. The only thing that matters is the budget, and for most medium and small businesses, it's unlikely you're going to be spending $10,000 a month. With larger businesses, or even, I guess, bigger medium-sized businesses, you may hit that threshold, and if you do, you'll need to speak to them. The great thing about PPC Protect is that they give you a 14-day free trial. Now, Clickcease give you 7 days. Again, we're going to go on to ClickGUARD as well. They also give you 7 days. PPC Protect give you a longer period of time to analyze the software and see how it prevents your click fraud and helps you in your account get better quality traffic. So it's a good evaluation period, which is a good advantage of this software. Setup of PPC Protect is very easy as well, because all you need to do is head over to your account, go into your tracking templates and import their tracking template, because when you register your account, they will provide you with a tracking string, and when you import that into your account, that will allow clicks to pass through their system so they can analyze all the traffic your ads are generating. So it's a bit different to Clickcease, where you need to confirm your Google account, essentially logging into your Google account through their system to add you to their manager account. This is very different. You need a tracking string so that all the click data is passed through their system. They can analyze the source of those clicks and then, I guess, allow or block clicks based on the source they're coming from. Once you're in the system, it's very easy to understand. They really have 3 types of click in kind of a traffic light system, with red being a fraudulent click, yellow or amber should I say being a suspicious click, so they still need more data to understand whether or not to block it or allow it. And then of course green is a legitimate click, a good click to your campaigns, and that is kind of how they rank their clicks. And on the dashboard you can see that really easily, really straightforward without any issues. All PPC prevention software like Clickcease we've spoken about already, and ClickGUARD, which we'll go on to, they all have a proprietary algorithm that detects fraud and blocks IP addresses based on that algorithm. Now, PPC Protect put a lot of stock in their algorithm. They pretty much focus on that artificial intelligence and understanding where clicks are coming from and blocking or enabling IPs or allowing IPs to click based on that algorithm. They focus purely on that, and the reason they do is because they want to create a simplified system. Now, I've mentioned Clickcease has a bunch of toggle options and manual overrides you can do. I'll go on to ClickGUARD as well, which has even more than Clickcease, but they want to focus on the simplicity of the system that's plug and play, easy to get started, and easy to set up blocking fraudulent clicks. So their artificial intelligence and their algorithm is their main focus. Now, in terms of manual adjustments, there aren't many manual adjustments in this system that you'll find, because as I mentioned, it's all about doing things automated. The only real manual adjustments you have with PPC Protect are control of your whitelist and your blacklist. So of course, all the IPs you're blocking, you can actually go in and override those if you want to remove them manually. And of course, if you're whitelisting IPs where you want to say this click is legitimate, in the circumstance that could happen is if you have a repeat business customer coming back who may have looked like they behaved fraudulently, but indeed they've converted in the past, or maybe they're a good customer and you want to make sure they can access your website, then you can whitelist that IP address specifically as well. So they're the 2 kind of manual settings you get, but ultimately you can see the data of all your clicks in terms of where they're coming from, the IP addresses, and of course the level of fraud associated with the click. So their reporting dashboard will tell you all of that, but in terms of manual settings, that is it. Without a doubt, PPC Protect is the easiest click fraud system to use because there's not much manual intervention, but that could be an advantage as well as a disadvantage. The more technical marketer, the more technical person who wants really hands-on data, who has the knowledge and time to invest in systems and understand and test different click fraud prevention strategies, might find this system a bit too simplistic. But that kind of brings me on to the next one, which is ClickGUARD, which has a bunch of options that we're going to take a look at as well. The final system we're going to take a look at is ClickGUARD. Now with ClickGUARD, same process applies. Head over to their website to sign up and get started. So what we're going to do is look at their pricing structure and understand how it compares to the others we've reviewed already. So ClickGUARD's pricing structure, they have 4 tiers. Now this one's actually pretty new. So similar to Clickcease, they've also added an audit kind of protection where it doesn't actually protect your account. What you're doing is just understanding what clicks are doing. So in the future, you can decide whether or not you want to go with one of their more premium sized packages and understand what click fraud is occurring in your account, just to see what's happening. So that's kind of similar to Clickcease there. In terms of their actual main kind of protections, ActiveGuard is basically just using their algorithm to detect click fraud, and that's it. So it's kind of similar to PPC Protect in some ways and similar to Clickcease in some ways, in that it automatically uses an algorithm to detect fraud, but it doesn't give you all of their manual options. Now they have a few manual options here, very few, very similar to Clickcease, I suppose, but these, I guess this is kind of their more entry-level package. Now Premium Guard gives you a lot of manual options. Now again, as I mentioned with Clickcease, if you know what you're doing with manual options, it can really pay off and help you. If you're not quite sure or you don't know what you're doing, you can cause damage to your account. So it's very careful in terms of setting some of these options I'm going to go on to in protecting your click fraud. So this is, of course, their most granular style of protection, where you have a lot of options in the account to do advanced rules and also quite a lot of basic rules as well. Elite Guard, I would say this doesn't really apply to most businesses. You can do advanced conditions and triggers and have full all-around protection by using this. It's their top tier plan. I think for most small businesses it might be a bit overkill, but for larger businesses spending huge amounts of money, and especially industries with high CPCs, you know, I've worked in industries with CPCs of £50 per click, then it could be a good option, because ultimately you don't just want to protect against click fraud, you also want to do budget conservation as well, so to make sure that you're not spending too much on people who aren't interested. So it could be a good option for you there as well, but I think the most popular one, as mentioned by here as well, is Premium Guard is going to be the one that gives you all of the options and the manual options you need to get started. In order for you to link your account to ClickGUARD, similar to the previous packages we've spoken about, you need to confirm your Google account with their system to add your Google account to their manager account. That's easy enough to do. Secondly, you also, similar to PPC Protect, you need to add a tracking template, but instead of adding it to your campaigns, you need to add it to your account level, which is very easy to do as well. When you go into your Google Ads account and you go into your overall settings, you can see your tracking templates within there. So it's very easy to do this as well. Another part of the setup is similar to that of Clickcease, in that you can actually add a conversion tracking tag as well, and conversion tracking allows you to do more post-click analysis and understand what people are doing after the click. So when you track a conversion in your account and you note the behavior of that user, you know they're legitimate, or 9 times out of 10 they will be a legitimate user because they've converted on your website. So that again is another identifier. So in terms of setup, set up the authentication with Google, add the tracking template to your account, and also set up conversion tracking. Do all 3 parts of setup to get started. Once you're in the system, the dashboard is very clear, very easy to understand. All the data is there for you to see. The dashboard looks modern, it's good. So one of the things you would notice different to Clickcease and PPC Protect is the sheer number of options in the menu. So let's go on and take a look at some of these options in more detail, because ultimately this is kind of their market USP. It's the level of detail and options you can go into when protecting your account. You have a bunch of basic rules available which will allow you to toggle based on geographic location of users, user behavior, their conversions, all the different types of basic settings you get in Clickcease, you also get here in PPC Protect, so that covers that area. But the one thing that differentiates, I guess, ClickGUARD from Clickcease and PPC Protect is the level of advanced rules you can add as well. Although you have the algorithm detecting fraudulent clicks in the background, you also have if and then statements. So you can say, if somebody clicks my advert within 2 minutes twice, then add them to the IP exclusion list. So you can do this on a number of different ways and a number of different rules based on user intent and user behavior. Maybe it's the time they've spent on your website and you want to exclude based on that. But essentially what you're doing with these rules and these advanced triggers is understanding how people behave on your site, excluding users based on that behavior so they can't see your ads again or return to your account. So this is a bit different to blocking bots and things of that nature, because ultimately what you're doing here is you're testing and seeing how you can maximize your budget by excluding users who aren't ready to buy ever. So it's not a case of not ready to buy now, because of course if someone's not ready to buy now, they may do in the future, and you don't want to exclude that type of user because basing everything on last click is just ridiculous. So you want to make sure people do get to come back to your website, but it's all about what people do when they hit your website. If somebody clicks your advert and they leave within 3 or 5 seconds, then they're not necessarily going to convert. If they do that twice or 3 times within the same day, they're definitely not going to convert, even if they're not a bot. So I guess their rules are really trying to detect that kind of user as opposed to just the bots and the fraud. In addition to that, similarly to Clickcease, you can apply rules to different levels of your account. You can say, I want this set of rules to be on this particular campaign, I want another set of rules to be on this particular ad group, and you can go all the way down to keyword level to provide different rules and automations based on the different parts of your campaigns, your ad groups, and your keywords. Meaning, again, you don't just blanket your entire account with rules. You can pick and choose where the rules are going to be applied and how they're applied as well. So it's pretty technical, but if you can get it right, I suppose you're going to prevent a lot of fraudulent clicks. And I don't just mean competitors clicking your adverts or bots. I'm talking about people who are in the wrong place, maybe clicking your ads by mistake, maybe people who think they're looking for your service, but they're never going to be interested. So really, it's more about budget conservation than just fraudulent clicks. As I always say with these kind of manual overrides, you need to be sure that you're making the right choice. Similar to Clickcease, you can damage your account and your performance if you're too aggressive with your rules, because you'll be blocking legitimate traffic. So you've got to have a good balance, and I would advise in both the case of Clickcease and the case of ClickGUARD, you need to speak to your account managers if you have them, or the support teams there, because they will be able to tell you if your rules are too aggressive or if they're okay to test, because ultimately you don't want to stop people who are legitimate missing out on your ads. As you can see, this system is for the technically savvy. If you just want something to plug and play, this might be a bit too much for you and you might need to go down to their lower tiers. But ultimately, if you're really technically minded, it could be the right system to prevent people from clicking your ads illegitimately. So there you have it. That completes the review of these click fraud softwares. Now you're screaming at me asking which one is right for me. Well, there are 2 answers depending on your circumstances. If you're a small business owner or somebody who hasn't got the most amount of time to manage your account and you want a system up and running very quickly that can do everything you need it to from a fraud prevention point of view and minimal effort needed, then I would say PPC Protect is the right system for you. The reason I say that is because even though they focus on their algorithm very heavily, I guess other softwares do as well, the great thing about this is the unlimited clicks versus the pricing point of other software packages out there in their tier of just AI alone. So Clickcease's software compared to PPC Protect, PPC Protect comes in at better pricing. I also think the algorithm and the effort they put into it is more consistent as well. So I think that's a better option for the advertiser who doesn't have time to test and implement systems. Now, I'm guessing you can hear what's coming next. If you're somebody who's technically savvy, who can do experimentation and can learn a new software system and does have the time, maybe you're an in-house marketer, maybe you're within an agency who has time to work on bigger accounts and really experiment and get really granular, in addition to, of course, your PPC management duties, then I'd say ClickGUARD is the best bet for you, because the technical solutions and the manual overrides you can do won't just prevent click fraud, they'll also look at the user's behavior as well and exclude people who might not necessarily be buyers, which is also a really good thing to do. Even though it's all about click fraud this video, it's also important to look at user intent. And I think when you look at it that way, then ClickGUARD is good for the technically savvy person who has time to invest learning a click fraud prevention software. So there you have it, 2 winners. PPC Protect for someone who wants something up and running quickly, easy to use and effective. ClickGUARD for somebody who wants to really data deep dive, really experiment, really push the boundaries and test and see whether or not fraud prevention software is right for them. So that completes the reviews. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other content across my channel, and I'll see you guys on my next video.